Hello, everybody. It's Flesson19, and welcome back to a Mount Lake Bannerlord guide. This one on the top 10 policies that I choose when I play a game. This is going to be a highly subjective list, and probably no one's going to have the same 10 policies, but this is going to give you some idea of where to go. Now, these will somewhat be in a top 10 list as far as from first to worst that I would go with. However, these will be changing constantly as it's going to depend upon your play style, what changes that tail world makes, how you exactly start. Because if you start with 5 piece compared to one, that can end up changing your third policy. The first two policies that I choose will be what's really called no-brainers. You're probably going to choose these two every single time when you first start your kingdom. The third one, though, that one is going to be situational, and it will depend upon how your start begins. So let's get going with the first two. Sacred Majesty. Ruler clan earns 3 influence per day. Non-ruler clans lose 0.5 influence per day. I think enough said. Getting 3 influence per day to start is absolutely amazing. So I don't think much needs to be said about that. That is pretty much a no-brainer, and that is one you should definitely take. Royal Guard. Ruler's party size increased by 60. Non-ruling clans lose 0.2 influence per day. Gaining 60 party size when you create your kingdom, that's pretty darn amazing. Now, the next two, maybe three, are going to be situational depending upon how you start your game. So don't just all of a sudden assume that this is going to be the one that you're going to take. If you start out with maybe more cities or more towns, this could be the one that you want, and that is state monopolies. Ruler clan gains 5% of settlement as tax per town. Workshop production is decreased by 10%. This can equate to approximately 100 or maybe a little more dinars per day per town or fee. So, like I said, situational, if you're going to start out with 4 or maybe 5 fiefs in your kingdom because you built up as a vassal, this could be the one you take. However, if you only start with 1 and money's not a huge issue, you're only going to gain 100, maybe 120 a day. This one you might not want to take. Imperial towns. If you are only starting out with maybe 1, towns held by the ruler clan gain 1 loyalty and 1 prosperity per day. Towns held by non-ruler clans lose 0.3 loyalty per day. As you know, loyalty now is very important on whether or not a town will rebel. So if you do have possibly a little bit of problem with loyalty, this could help you out extremely well early game if you need to maintain that loyalty. Lord's Privy Council. If you are tier 5 plus when you start your kingdom, you can gain 0.5 influence per day, and the cost of inviting lower tier clans to your army is decreased by 20%. That is absolutely massive. So that is going to help out a lot early in the game if you are tier 5 plus. Royal commissions. The influence cost of creating an army is reduced by 30% for the ruler. Armies led by the ruler earn cohesion at 30% less cost. So it's going to cost you 30% less to start the army, and your cohesion is going to cost 30% less to bring it back up. Armies led by non-ruler notables cost 10% more influence to create. So that is going to be great if you plan to have 2, possibly 3 clans right away that you're thinking about. It's going to make it so you can create and hold an army much better. Land tax. 5% of village income is paid to the ruler clan as tax. 5% less village income by clans. This one is very situational, and this is going to depend upon how many fiefs you control versus how many you give to your vassals. If you give more away to your vassals, this is where this can come in handy and make you a lot of money. If you are going to keep a lot for yourself, then this is one you might not want to be able to take right away. Royal privilege. This is something you always want to think about early on to try to take before you get clans in. For kingdom decisions, the influence cost of the ruler overriding the popular decision outcome is reduced by 20%. To people that have seen my horse archer playthrough near the end, it was costing me between 3,000 to 4,000 influence to override everybody in my kingdom. This will make it 20% less, which is absolutely massive. So this is something you want to think about pretty early on. Senate. Tier 3 plus clans gain 0.5 influence per day. Influence cost of inviting lower tier clans to an army, however, are increased by 10%. So that is something that is a little more situational as well. It'll cost you a little bit more. However, when you couple that together with another policy, which of course we just discussed, you're not going to be spending that much. Any 3.5 influence is not pretty terrible at all. Debasement of the currency. Ruler clan gets 100 dinars per day for each town in the kingdom. Settlement loyalty is decreased by 1 per day. Remember now that loyalty we talked about, that determines whether or not somebody's going to rebel. However, when you gain 100 dinars per day, if you are starting out and you have 3 or 4 towns, you're going to gain 300 or 400 per day. So that is something that could be really important depending on how many towns you actually start with. And that is my top 10 list of policies that I would take in a game. I will take and mention one really quick, which is something that has been changed a couple times now, and that is Council of the Commons. It used to be one of the best in the game. Now, if you look, it says each notable yields 0.1 influence per day to the settlement owner's clan. Now, if you think about it, a town that has 2 villages, and let's say you have 10 total notables, should yield you 1 influence per day. Right now, it only appears to be giving you 0.1 per day. I don't know if it's completely bugged or if it's only certain notables. I do have something into Tail World right now. However, if that is supposed to work as it states, I should be able to gain 1 influence per day for each town I control. However, it's only gaining 0.1. So stay tuned for Council of Commons, because if Council of Commons is supposed to work like that, if you start out with 2 towns, that could be gaining you 2 influence per day if it's supposed to be working correctly. Right now, it isn't. I'm not sure if it's bugged. It's been misworded. I'm not sure what's going on with it. As I stated, these are very subjective, and these are going to change most likely from patch to patch. I know Mexico is working very hard on getting all of these, so they are working really well, and they are going to be changed. These are as of 1.5.8. I highly recommend, if somebody does have a comment on what they like or they do not like, to also include why situationally they do not like it. Because as I've stated, these can be very situational. So if you own more towns, you might want one versus another. So also make sure you're letting people know why you do or do not like a specific policy so they know the reasoning behind it. So if they are in your situation, they might go ahead and choose or not choose that policy in question. So I hope this helps out a little bit in deciding what policies for you to make. I will try to update these as much as possible throughout early access. So until next time, take care and thanks for watching.